as I mentioned earlier, notepads, have a pen. I have a lot of material to cover. I've got like 3 pages of material to cover. So I'm gonna ask everybody to go on mute so I can just get through everything. Take notes, write down questions, and then I can address those at the end, and we can kind of see where everybody's at, talk a little bit more about goals, and launch off of there. Okay, Liliana's trying to connect here, so let me see if I can just help her on before we kick off. Oh, there, I see you now, Liliana. Hi.
Hey, I can see you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me, but I can see you. I'm looking at the screen weird in my phone. I don't know.
That's good.
Storage almost full. I think it's my phone, but anyway.
It's working, so we're good.
Yeah, but I can hear you. That's nice.
That is good. Okay, so I'm just sending Michael an invite because his isn't opening, and then we're good to go. And hopefully Tanya will hop on here shortly. Okay. Oh, there we go. Yay! Awesome. We're all here. Good stuff. Like I said, hopefully Tanya can make it. I know she might be a bit late. So I'm going to ask everybody, please put yourself on mute. And if you don't know how to do that, just click on your picture and it'll give you the little options you'll see a little microphone and you click that and it'll mute yourself. And we'll get the party started. All right, I am excited. I am so excited for everything that we've had going on. Liliana, do you need help with the muting?
I'm trying to do the mute. Oh my god, today.
Technology doesn't always work for me either.
No. Okay, I'll be quiet.
Okay, that's all good. All right. So, as I mentioned before, I have like a crazy amount of stuff to go over. So I'm going to go through as efficiently as possible. If you have a question, write it down and we'll come back to it at the end. And I tried to be as systematic as possible. So, woo, we're all shooting for diamond. This is really exciting stuff. Really the main thing here, you have to want it. I can't want it for you. It's one of those things where you have to really want it to get it, and that's just going to come from your inner drive. If you want it, all of the other technical stuff, all of the figuring out, talking to people, all of that can fall into place. That's all learnable stuff, but the drive to get there, that's all that inner fire that you need to have for yourself. So if you're kind of like, well, I want it, but you know, you need to kind of see, well, why do I want it? And come back to that why you got started in the coaching thing, because that's going to be big in getting you to be able to go, okay, well, I want it because I want more time with my family, or I want it because I want to pursue a dream I had that takes money to do. Like maybe you want to invest in something, or maybe you've always wanted to do something artistic, or whatever the case may be. So you need to find out what that passion is and really hone in on it. I mentioned earlier when we were going over the list that I had everybody fill out for me, asking for goals. And a lot of you put short, medium, and long term, which is great. We have to put dates on those. And the reason that we need to put a date to each one of those goals is because if we leave it ambiguous, then it's okay if we haven't hit it yet, because I didn't have a date that I needed to hit it by, if that makes sense, right? Because if I go, okay, well, I want to be diamond and I'm going to be diamond by February 1st, that's going to put you into action, right? That's going to make you actually push through the hard stuff. That's going to make you take actionable steps. So we need to put a date next to each of those. At the end of the day, would it matter if you said February 1st, I'm going to be diamond, and you hit it February 9th? No. But if you left it ambiguous, I can pretty much bet you that you won't hit diamond, because you have to actually have a date firmly in your head that I need to hit it by then, because then it's a countdown and you're going to boogie to get there. Now, when I brought up the calendar before, I'm not sure how all of you reacted when you saw that I was like, okay, we're sponsoring 2 coaches the first week, 3 the second, 2 the third, and the Success Club points. I even looked at that calendar after I made it and I went, okay. And then I let that thought go. And it's totally okay to do that, to have that kind of moment of like, oh my gosh, that's going to be so hard. But then you got to throw that out of your mind and go, no, that's not hard enough. You have to have that mental switch in your head, because that's what's going to get you to really be able to see past your limitations. And this goes for all of us, because it's a mental game. Because they've set the bar so low, Success Club 5, that's, I mean, now with the All Access Challenge Pack, that's helping 2 people in an entire month. We can all help more than 2 people in a month. We could help more than 2 people in a week. And that's to know that you're not limited by these bars. So even though there's Success Club 5 and Success Club 10, why not shoot for Success Club 30? That's 15 people in a month. That's not really that outlandish. So you need to start thinking in bigger terms than what's presented in front of you. Because if we set the bar low, then we just kind of barely hit that bar. But if we set it really high, then we're going to get, closer to hitting that. So how do we look at those goals and reverse engineer to hit those? Because I'm sure you all went, sponsor 2 coaches the first week. How in the heck? And hit Success Club 5 that first week. How? That's crazy. We need to take a step back. So what do we do when we see a goal like that? We got to see, well, what would it take to hit the goal in the first place? So in terms of the Success Club 5, well, that's helping 2 to 3 people that week. Well, how do I help 2 to 3 people? I probably need to talk to at least probably 10 to 20 people that week to make sure that I get through enough no's to get a few yeses. And it's really that simple. And when we think of it in those terms, it's much easier to tackle, because we go, okay, so I'm going to shoot for talking to 20 people. I got 7 days, so I'm going to break that down. That's going to be 2 to 3 people a day. Really not that mind-boggling to get on that terms. Same thing when we talk about, I'm going to sponsor 2 coaches. Great, so I probably need to talk to at least 10 people about the coaching opportunity. And it's just breaking them down into those tangible things that we need to do. And when we do that, we're going, okay, I'm talking to 2 to 3 people a day about getting fit and healthy and joining a challenge group. And I'm talking to 1 to 2 people a day about the coaching opportunity. It is that simple. And I'll tell you from experience, from the times where I've sponsored a lot of coaches and the times I've not sponsored a lot of coaches, I'm either talking about it to people or I'm not talking about it to people. That simple. And so if you want to sponsor coaches, you just have to present the opportunity to enough people. It's plain and simple like that. As much as, we all want to think that there's some magical thing we've got to do. No, it's really just the consistency in what can sometimes feel like grunt work, because it's just going out in the trenches, talking to people, and it's that easy. The other thing is, and I absolutely love this statement, is imperfect action is preferable to perfect inaction. Basically, all I'm saying with that, and all that means, is don't overthink what you're doing. Go out, try it. If it doesn't work, great. Try something else. But do stuff. Because when we're sitting still, our business just kind of hovers and we don't get progressive with it. So we really need to be constantly trying new things, And I know Mike always says, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, just go and do stuff. And that's what it really comes down to. And the other thing that I need to touch on, and this is just for all of us, because let's face it, there's other stuff we could be doing besides running the business right now. And we can have results or excuses. It's the exact same with our health. So when we come down to it, it's taking that time now that we could, of course, be doing something else with, but to know that's going to give us more time later to do what we really want. For some of you, I know you want to be full-time coaches and retire, and that's kind of your goal. This is going to get you there, taking the time now. And one of the coaches I want to touch on, and if you listen to top coaches talk, and I really hope that you take some time to listen to some of their YouTube trainings over these next few weeks and beyond. Amy Silverman kind of stands out as somebody who could have easily made a bunch of excuses. She's the number 2 coach in the company. And when she started coaching, she was going to school full-time. She was working full-time. So, that's 14 to 16 hours out of the house doing stuff like that, homework. She had a boyfriend or a husband at the time, and she says it all the time. Guess what went on the back burner? Her sex life for her first year as a coach. It might sound ridiculous, but guess what? Now she lives a completely free life. She and her husband are retired, and they just kind of travel the world. It is really pretty cool. So it's going and finding that time. We can all find the time if we want to, no matter how busy we are, whether it's giving up sleep, whether we're asking our spouse to help out with chores. That's going to free up some time for us. And definitely, if you have spouse and family on board with this, explain to them what you're trying to do. Don't just kind of go, okay, I got to do some stuff. Go like, okay, here's what I'm working towards, and this is what I see for our family, and this is what I want to do, and I need your help to do it. Get them on board with what you're doing, because that's going to make the whole family happier. Because if you're just always away and they don't know what you're doing and they think you've kind of joined some weird funky cult, you're probably going to run into some issues with your family. So you really do need to let them know what you're trying to achieve, why you're spending all this time away from them. Explain what you're trying to do so that they're understanding and know that really your ultimate goal is to have more time with them and to give them all of the wonderful things in life that you want to. Consistency, as always, going to bring up that word a lot. Consistency is key in this business. You need to do consistent goals day after day after day. It's kind of one of those things where when people ask what we do, I almost want to say it's really boring. We help change people's lives, but it's kind of boring because it really is the same thing day in and day out. And that's what really gets our business to boom. But the exciting thing about that is it's duplicatable. That's why we can teach it. That's why anybody can do this, no matter what the background is. And last thing in this section is hobby versus business. And I want you to think, would I be treating this business the same way I'm treating it now if I had to pay $400,000 to get this franchise? Because if we were to get a brick and mortar franchise, so let's say Boston Pizza or something like that, you bet your butt we'd be putting in probably at least $250,000 to get that. We will be out there grinding the pavement every single day to get our money back, right? Beachbody was such a low startup cost. Some people don't treat it like a business because you didn't invest much into it. So you gotta pretend, just tell yourself, like, I invested $200,000, I gotta get it back. Tell yourself that if it helps, because sometimes when we go, okay, I really need to light that fire under my butt, keep in mind, we're getting all the benefits of having a brick and mortar, but we don't have to pay overhead fees. We don't have to do any of these things that brick and mortar is kind of a pain in the butt to have, because you have to have stock and you have to, have employees and all of this other stuff. We don't have to deal with that. They deal with it for us. It's pretty awesome. All right, on to section number 2. I wanted to just quickly review the 4 vital behaviors. This might sound crazy that I'm bringing it back to this, but it's so important. So our 4 vital behaviors: be a product of the product. You need to be doing your workout every single day. Obviously, if you're sick, you're not going to do the workout, but you're going to post about, hey, I'm sick, I didn't do my workout today, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. And having that consistency so your audience sees that on your social media. We will get to social media in a bit here. Invite, invite, invite. I know we kind of talked about that in the first section, but you got to be talking to people every single day about this business. Personal development. This one is beyond huge, and I personally neglected it for the longest time. And I'm here to say that engaging in personal development has completely turned my business around in the most profound way. You need to be, reading personal development. You need to be listening to personal development. There's free personal development on the web too. Like, it's not like you have to go out and pay for stuff. So if you don't have anything to invest in it now, great, go on YouTube. There's tons of trainings out there. And the other thing, recognition. And this can be recognizing team members. This can be recognizing your customers. This can be just recognizing a friend or family member. Give shout outs. It is really huge to give somebody a shout out and to empower other people. And that's a lot of what we do with this business. When I talk to somebody about this business, I know I can empower and change their lives because I'm giving them an opportunity to be able to really do whatever they want. And that's really exciting. For me, it's freedom. This is what this business does for us. It gives us complete freedom. And so when you talk to people about it, always keep in mind that this is a gift. And I know when I listen to a lot of the top coaches talk, they all have said that they were asked like somewhere between 5 and 7 times before they actually signed up to be a coach. They're all like 6-figure, 7-figure earners. Do you think they got mad at their coach for asking 7 times if they wanted to sign up? No. Do not hesitate to talk to people about this business. You can change people's lives giving them this opportunity. So don't hesitate. Obviously, we don't want to badger the crap out of people, but continuously offer it to them because it's huge. It's huge. It just needs to be the right time for them. And so a no isn't a no forever. It's just a no right now. Number 3, I talked about before when I talked about franchise, so I skipped my point. All right, so moving on to number 4, be a leader. This is huge. This is why I asked you all to make up your team names now. If you have even one coach under you, my camera's up here. If you have even one coach under you, you need to have a team name and you need to have a team page. So just like Mike has Team Rage and I have Team Ignite Your Passion, you need to have your Facebook team page of team, whatever your team name is. And that's where you're going to rally with your coaches, even if it's just one right now. You need to be in there with them, leading them, because guess what? Then you're going to be sponsoring a whole bunch more coming in there, and you need to be the leader and taking on that leadership role. And it's a lot more comfortable when you start with that one coach in there with you and you build with them and you grow with it. Because sometimes it's scary if you wait and then you're like, oh crap, I've got like 50 coaches and I need to open a group and I haven't had a group before and it's going to be a little trial and error. Just open it right away. Be confident. You have things to teach. Even if you've only been in this business for a couple weeks, you know more than the guy that signed up yesterday. You have something to bring to the table. You have tons of outside resources, be it YouTube, be it from our team page, that you can cross-share into your group. So don't feel like I don't know enough yet, I'm not a leader yet. As soon as you started as a coach, you became a business owner. So own it. Be a leader. Be comfortable in that. Leaders are always constantly learning too. You need to be constantly teaching yourself new things. A lot of that's going to come from your personal development. And then there's, of course, coach trainings and different things we do like that too. The one thing I want you to ask yourself, depending on where you want to go in the business, if you want to shoot to be a top coach, great. If you're like, I want to shoot for 5-star diamond or whatever, anything in between, whatever your goal is, I want you to start asking yourself, let's say you go in for top coach. What does a top coach do? And then reverse engineer it, right? So we're going to go, okay, a top coach is going to be training their coaches daily. They're going to be leading by example, and they're going to be sponsoring coaches and bringing them onto their team and training them. They're going to be running challenge groups regularly. They're going to be hosting team calls. So you need to brainstorm, make a list, and go, this is what a top coach does, and then do it. It's that simple. We just follow the example that's already been laid out for us, and we just take action on it. So figure out, what does somebody at the level that you want to shoot for do, and start doing it. Fake it till you make it. It's going to feel weird and awkward, and that's okay. And always, always, always lead by example. There's something that I will get into a little later that's called the diamond trap, and that's what happens when we stop leading by example. It is really important that you do whatever you ask your coaches to do, because they're going to be watching you and they're going to be taking after your lead. And that comes from your attitude. Are you reading personal development? Are you inviting? What are you posting on social media? They will follow your example. So keep that in mind. And also, as we get into sponsoring more coaches, as you're regularly sponsoring 5+ coaches a month, you're going to have some exponential growth, right, with your team. There are only so many hours in the day. Even if you retire to do this full time, there are only so many hours in the day. Let's say you get to the point and you're like, wow, I've got 100 coaches in my downline. You do not have time to handhold every single coach that comes onto your team. So you need to spend the time with the people that earn it. So if you see somebody that's going day after day and they're doing the work and they're trying and they're reaching out to you for help, great, you're definitely going to give them that time. But if somebody hasn't really been running the business and they're not asking for help, should you go out of your way and go, hey, I want to help you run your business. I want to help you build this. Probably not, because they don't want it for themselves yet. And if they don't want it for themselves, you can't want it for them. No, even though you want it for them, because we all do, right? Like, I want every single coach on my team to be a successful retired coach if they want to be. But I can't make them want that. That doesn't mean they won't want it one day. And I think Mike Nowak is such a great example. I mean, he came on board just as a discount coach for a long time. And then he eventually got to the point where, this is his full-time thing. So you need to be right place, right time with them. Keep leading by example. I'm not saying ignore the coaches that aren't like gung-ho like you are, but really the people who are consistent with their business, who are trying, they really deserve your time. So make sure that you delegate wisely and get yourself a system in place. So what do I mean by that? Luckily, we've got such great resources in the Coach Online office. You've got places to help send your coaches so that they've got a place to learn. I'm constantly running trainings for beginners, for people who want to push for diamond and get the advanced training. So there are a lot of different things you have to rely on. So when you're onboarding new coaches, you want to have a system in place to get them started right. You want to schedule a getting started right call with them. And I will get into, what you should talk to them about on a get started right call with my other note. I've got like the worst notes. Look at this ripped paper. Anyway, it's what I do. I'm messy. So GSR Call, you want to talk to them about their goals. You want to go over the Coach Online office with them. You want to talk to them about the importance of Success Club and why hitting Success Club 5 and above every month is crucial to them growing their business consistently, because that just means they're helping 2 to 3 people every single month, and that's going to give them customer leads and all of those wonderful things that just give them that influx of business growth. You're going to want to direct them to the Coach Basics training in the Coach Online office, and you will also want to help talk to them about getting together a list of at least 20 people, and that's going to give them some people to start talking to about the business. Keep it short and simple like that. Answer questions they have. Try to keep it on topic. Some people, when they call, they just want to be, super friendly, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you want to keep it on point, because you don't want, a 20-minute call to turn into a 2-hour call. I'm guilty of this because I love talking to people. But if you're onboarding a lot of coaches and you're like, I got 5 calls today, I gotta go, just keep in mind your time management, because it is important for you to prioritize what you need to do in your day and also get them to go and do the work that you're trying to help them with. I have sent all of you, when you got on board, an introductory email. That's changed over time. I know some of you have been along a lot longer than others, so I can send you a copy of what I send out to new coaches now, basically welcoming them to the team, letting them know my work hours and that kind of thing so that they know what to expect. And I also tell them about team calls and when they are, so that they kind of see that we've got some structure to the business. All right, so that's pretty much covering that section. And the FAQs section on Beachbody. The last thing you want to do is spend all day answering little questions that coaches ask. Like if somebody's like, what are the details on the new product coming out? Go search the FAQs, all the information's there. Get them self-sufficient, because you're not doing anybody any favors, and I'm totally guilty of this. For the longest time, I'd be like, I will get that answer for you. It's not a good thing. It's doing a disservice to your coaches, because they need to be self-sufficient. They are their own business owner. You want to help them, of course. You direct them in the right area, or if they're like, hey, I looked, I couldn't find it, then you can go and help them. It's one of those things where, again, it's a time management thing, especially if you're somebody who's really crunched for time, which who isn't, then you just can't spend the time answering the same question over and over and over for each individual person. You want them to be self-sufficient so they know how to look for their own stuff. All right, so section 5 is the numbers game. What do I mean by that? And you've probably all heard me say the numbers game before. This business is a numbers game. We talk to a certain amount of people, a certain amount say no, a certain amount say yes. It is what it is. The more people you talk to, the more yeses you're going to get along the way. It's that simple. There's a quote I love, and I know I post it every couple months just because I love it so much. It's from somebody who did make over $1 million in network marketing, and they said there was no secret. I talked to 1,200 people, 900 said no. Of 300, 200 got involved but really didn't do much. 100, 80 sorted at something. It was one of those things where it just kind of got down until it went to, it was like 11 of those 1,200 people made me a millionaire. It's the same thing here. If you talk to 1,200 people, guess what? Then you're going to build a team that's going to be like, and this is part of the reason I asked you to make a list of 100 people. There was a video I watched on YouTube. It was the coach that got to Diamond the fastest, which isn't always, fastest doesn't really matter. But the way she got there was really smart. When she signed up as a coach, she had a list of 100 people, and over her first 6 days, she talked to those 100 people, and guess what? She went diamond because she got the coaches she needed out of those 100 people by talking to them about the business. Because let's break it down. For diamond, you only need 8 personally sponsored coaches and 2 of them to go to emerald. It's that simple. So for everybody here to go diamond in a month, you can do that. And I personally went from emerald to diamond in 1 month. There is nothing stopping you. You just have to have the drive. You have to be 100% okay with rejection. You are going to be told no a lot. The more people you talk to, the more no's you're going to get. You just got to be okay with that, and you got to know you're going to come back to those people at a different time when it's the right opportunity for them. And again, I said it before, what you're offering people is an absolute gift. You are offering them the chance to build financial freedom. In my opinion, there's nothing better than having the complete ability and autonomy of your schedule. Anyway, for me, I'm like, that's amazing. That's a gift. All right, we made it onto page 2. All right. Okay, social media. I just spent the past 10 days or so, I devoured Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. I think that's how you say his name. Amazing, incredible information about how to build your brand on social media. And he covered a lot of different platforms, especially the bigwigs. And I'm just going to cover about, I think, 10 of them here, which you should consider being on if you're not. If nothing else, you're going to want to secure your handle. That's just your screen name, whatever you go by. You're going to want to secure that on all of the platforms because you want to be able to be found on every single platform using that same handle. So Facebook, I know you're all on that. Instagram, Twitter, Flickr, Tumblr, Vine, Snapchat, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Google+. And I will put that into our group chat. But these are kind of like the big wigs of social media. And you're going to find you love using some of them and you hate using some of the others. That's okay, because we just want to specialize in the ones that we really enjoy. And a lot of it's going to come down to just understanding how the individual platforms work and what works on those platforms. And it's so easy to put the wrong post on the wrong platform. And it's incredible just how specific these platforms are. And I didn't really even personally notice the nuances as much until I read this book. So I do recommend it highly when you're looking for a new book. And another thing I'm going to ask Serge to talk about a little bit later is target market and finding out what your target market's needs are and what their emotional needs are, because he's got better information on that than I do. So I'm going to get him to talk about that once I'm done. So secure your handle on the platforms you choose to use, and just pick one, get really good at it, and then you can incorporate another and get really good at that, and then you can incorporate another. Don't do them all at once because it'll be too much. You want to do 3 to 5 posts a day, and quality of your post is way more important than quantity. So get good at what you're posting on each of these. And for Facebook, for example, we really don't want to have posts that are too long. I'm guilty of this, and I'm trying to shorten my posts because Facebook, the original intent of Facebook, it's a status update, not a novel. I'm saying that for myself. It's not a novel. I can do it. It's not a novel. So it's really about, updating in a short, fun, friendly format. It's not to say you can never do a longer post. If it's appropriate and if the content is engaging, that's okay. Facebook's gotten to the point where you really want to use a picture as often as possible because it's eye-catching at this point. And Facebook algorithms do change, so just be aware of that. And we do want to be using the business pages on Facebook because your friend page is going to have a lot of limited reach, whereas your fan page is going to give you the opportunity to extend your reach far beyond. Now, Facebook has gotten to the point where it's very corporate, and what that means at this point is that big companies have finally seen value in it. And that means that they're actually putting money into their advertising. So organic reach is very small, and organic reach is just free reach. So it's really down, I think it's down to something crazy like 2% or something silly. So Facebook fan pages, I highly recommend that you, in general, save like 10% of your income for marketing. And that's going to bring you in customers. That's going to get new customers onboarding like crazy. It is very important. Now, if you're new to a fan page, luckily Facebook is really, really, really forgiving for brand new Facebook fan pages. So if you've just started one up, chances are you're getting a lot of organic reach because Facebook hasn't determined where you kind of fit yet. So they give you a little bit of leeway while you're establishing yourself. The best way to do it when you've got a brand new fan page, you're really going to want to make sure that your content is valuable to people because you need likes and you need comments, and hopefully you'll get some shares. If you can do that, then you're going to show up on the map without having to put any money into it, at least for the first while, which is good. So I will talk to people about that. If you don't have a fan page set up yet, we'll get into setting it up individually. I'll work with you and we'll get that done this week. And that gets into the attraction marketing part, because you're going to want to figure out, who are you talking to? in this big old world, who is your ideal client? And you're going to want to hone your post to talk to them. And what Sarah's just going to talk about later on the target market stuff, that's going to be where this plays into. Because if you talk to the whole world, nobody's going to hear you. But if you talk to a very specific segment of people, then you're going to get their attention because you speak their language, because they have something in common with you, and you're not just some marketer out there, you're one of them. So it's a very powerful tool. I know I've talked before about joining general interest groups. Find something you love. It does not have to have anything to do with health and fitness. It can be, maybe you're a big Orange is the New Black fan. Great. Go. There is a giant groups out there talking about that TV show because it's huge. Maybe you love The Walking Dead. Maybe you love video games. Maybe you love sports. Maybe you love beer. It really doesn't matter. There are groups on Facebook talking about this stuff, and you can make friends in those groups. And the last part of social media, you get what you post for. So one of the things that a lot of coaches will say is, well, it's really easy for me to get challengers for my challenge groups, but I never get coaches. Or it's really easy for me to find coaches, but I can never find challengers. You get what you post for. So if you get a lot of challengers, chances are you post a lot about fitness and challenge groups and that kind of thing. If you get a lot of coaches coming on board, you talk about the business a lot and you have a lot of calls to action to check out the business. You want to kind of even that out so you get challengers and you get coaches. We will get into the specifics of how to do good, catchy posts for that aren't it comes back to the attraction thing, right? Because we don't want to just be putting out like a help wanted sign, so to speak. We really want to be talking specifically to people, and people react when you talk about something that hits them emotionally. So keep that in mind. You really got to target it into them. And the best thing I can tell you to do is check out what a lot of coaches do have been really successful with their social media pages. Because you're going to get some brainstorming going on, like, oh, okay, I see why they posted that way. That makes sense. So I'm going to do something derivative of that. And I'll give you an example. There was this one post that Bonnie Engel did that I thought was just brilliant. And it was asking throughout the whole thing, you know, maybe you've been watching me for a while do this. Maybe you've been curious about what I do, but maybe you kind of think that it's, you know, too good to be true. And she just kind of had this theme with the maybes going throughout the whole thing until she got to the end where it was like, maybe you want to check it out because it will be worth checking out in case it is something that's worth doing. It was kind of sculpted like that, and I thought it was the coolest thing. I was just like, dang, that's so catchy, because you get these people who follow you, who never like, who never comment, who you in a million years didn't think knew what you've been up to, and go figure, they've been really curious about what you're doing. They've been following you for years and you didn't know it. So there are a lot of different ideas, there are a lot of different techniques. The key is you figure out what you want to post, like what makes you unique and what makes you want to engage with people, and what's been exciting about your journey, and sharing these little things and these nuggets. I simply find looking at some of the very successful social media posts can be helpful in getting us to brainstorm about how we would ourselves like to post. So, how we go from posting and getting people to like and comment and share to getting the conversations going. So with the conversations, we've got the classic form: family, occupation, recreational, message. That just always gives us something to talk about, because you can ask them about their family, their occupation, or what they like to do for recreation. There's always something to fall back on. One thing I always ask about: what are you doing for the weekend? How's your weekend going? What did you do last weekend? It's so easy. It's just something simple that you can ask anytime, and ask lots of questions. That's where you get to know your prospect, and people love it when you take an interest in them, because people don't get a chance to talk about themselves. And when you show a genuine interest in what they're doing, and you want to hear about what they've been up to, they're really more receptive and come around to usually ask what we've been up to. So ask them tons of questions. And this carries over into when we start inviting them into a group, to a coach sneak peek, to the coaching opportunity in general. Lots and lots of questions. And that gets them to come to their own conclusion. And there's different ways that you can guide people to a conclusion that, they answer it for themselves to see whether it's a good fit or not. A lot of the times I'll ask people, because let's face it, time is the biggest enemy for most of us. How much time do you spend on social media each day? A lot of people are on social media a lot of the day, whether it's 5 minutes here, 15 there, waiting to pick up the kids in the dentist's office, lunch break. People spend crazy amounts of time on social media. So once somebody tells me, yeah, I spend it, here, there, a little bit everywhere on social media, great. Would you be interested in learning how you can turn that time into, that wasted time basically, into time that's going to benefit you and your family? Most people say yes, because they're on Facebook, they're on these social media platforms because they're bored. So when they hear that there's an opportunity to do that, yeah, they want to learn more. And it's important to ask it as a question, to go, instead of, I know how you can turn that time into beneficial time for you and your family, they're going to be like, whoa. But when you ask them, well, would you be interested in learning about more? Most people say yes, because it's not pushy. And you really need to discover what their needs are, what their goals are. And when we figure out what their obstacles are from their objections, then we can offer them a solution and invite them. And if you also need another idea of, what to talk to somebody about, go and scroll their Facebook page. See what they've posted about recently. Then you can go, hey, I saw you went to that concert. How was it? Or, hey, saw that new picture of your kid. That was really cute. What was that from? Whatever, right? People post about stuff all the time. See what they're interested in and join into their conversation. That shows that you're genuinely looking into what they're doing. And our perception is so important. Our thoughts really matter. You got to get your brain in a positive place, because if you think it's going to be hard, man, oh man, it will be. But if you think it's going to be easy, it will be. And this brings me back to talking about the calendar before, where I was like, who here looked at the calendar and went, Amanda's crazy. She's out of her freaking mind. There's no way I'm sponsoring 7 coaches this month. There's no way. She's insane. If you had that thought, it's totally cool. I looked at that too and went, holy, yeah. But it's okay. It's okay to have that thought, and then we push it out of our mind and go, that's too easy. I'm going to push for 5 coaches each week. I'm going to push for Success Club 30 because I can. And it's, it's kind of having that cocky attitude, and that's okay, because it really matters whether you think it's easy or you think it's hard. Because, your perception, it's going to create that reality bubble. And if you haven't made a vision board before, I want you to make a note, look up what the heck a vision board is, and I want you to make a vision board. Go on Google how to make a vision board, look it up, go make a vision board, because seeing what you want is so important. Because let's say money is a big thing for you. Like, money is a big reason you're doing this. Money is just money. But what does that money mean? Does that mean you're going to live in a big house? Does that mean you're going to travel? Does that mean you're going to publish a book? Does that mean, you're going to, maybe you like jewelry? I don't know. Just what would that money mean in terms of how you would live? Think about it. Then put pictures up about it. And then look at those regularly and go, I'm going to live that. That's going to be my reality. And that will put your mind in the right place. Number 9, coach placement. Now that you're going to be sponsoring a lot of coaches regularly, you need to be aware of coach placement in your organization. You have complete control of where the coaches will appear in your downline when you sponsor them. You want to always make sure they're on the outside of your legs. What do I mean by that? When you've sponsored coaches and then they've got the branches out, you don't want to put it on the inside of the legs, because then those coaches will be orphan coaches and they won't get coaches from your outside legs. This is really hard without a visual. I'm like trying to picture it in my head. Basically, there's a graphical genealogy that you can look at. That is very helpful. You can literally click the little blue guy where you want the next coach to appear. Or you can go in and say, I want them to be on the left or the right leg. Basically, the reason you want to think about this is, like, let's say you've got somebody signing up and they're like just signing up for the discount. And you've got somebody who is a real business builder on one leg and another discount coach on the other leg. Well, then you're probably going to want to put it under the business builder, because the next coach you're going to want to put on the other leg, because you need 2 emeralds on each leg to go diamond. So you want to make sure that when you do have a business builder, that it goes on the opposite leg of the one that you do have a business building coach on. Maybe the first 2 coaches you sponsored are both business gung-ho. Great. You don't have to like stress over it as much, but you do want to balance out your legs with how many business and how many discount coaches you have, because it matters where they're popping into emerald and diamond and so on and so forth. We can get into a tutorial that's a little more hands-on with that, but we really will need a visual to make that make sense and not make my brain explode trying to explain it. Yes, I talked about reverse engineering goals. So beyond Success Club and coaches, like I talked about, maybe you also have a goal of, I want to add at least 10 new customers a week. Great. How many people do you need to talk to hit that goal? You got to figure that out. You got to figure out what your turnaround rate is and then reverse engineer it. So maybe you're like, I need to talk to 50 people a week. Great. So that's going to be like 8 people a day. There you go. So you just got to figure out by what your goal is and what you got to do to reach it. And we're on page 3. We're almost done. Okay, 11. The power of intent. So a couple of you heard this story from December, and I know I told Sayers this. So one day in December, I woke up and I told myself, first thing when I woke up, I'm like, I am going to sponsor 3 coaches today. I closed my eyes, I saw it in my head, I imagined my coach online office saying, you have 3 personally sponsored brand new coaches. I just pictured it. I was like, this is gonna happen. Pictured it in my head. Guess what? At the end of the day, I had sponsored 0 new coaches, but I went out and I talked to so many people about the coaching opportunity that by the end of the week, I had sponsored 3 new coaches. So sometimes that helps. I know everybody's different, but try it. I want you to wake up one day this week and go, I am going to sponsor, just start out with like, I'm going to sponsor 1 new coach today. And you might actually get them to sign up that day. I have had that happen several times in the past. But if nothing else, you're going to talk to way more people than you would if you didn't wake up with that intention in mind. So try it. Set a tough goal for yourself and go, I'm just going to shoot for it. I'm going to go for it. Yes, and when you talk to people, whether it's about getting a challenge pack, joining a challenge group, signing up as a coach, inviting them to a coach sneak peek, I don't care what you're inviting them to, no matter what, before you talk to them, in your head, they have already said yes, and they've bought, whether they've bought the idea or they've bought the product, before you even say hello to them. They have already bought it in your head. You have already made this sale, you've already made this invite, they have already said yes, they're already in the group. In your head, you need to, it's done. You're just going through the motions to complete it. You need to have complete confidence that it's happened. It makes such a difference. That is huge. So go in with it as they've already done it. You're just disseminating information. Number 12, your why. This is going to come back to your dream, your vision board a little bit, but what does your dream life look like? What do you do on your dream life days? When do you wake up? When do you have your workout? When do you do anything on your dream life? What's a perfect day look like to you? How would you like to live? And I know I said it before, but we're sacrificing the time now so that we have tons of time to do whatever the heck we want later, because that's huge. And number 13. This is when I talked about earlier, do not fall into the diamond trap. When you hit diamond, keep going. Keep the momentum going. So when you get your 8 personally sponsored coaches, it is not time to go, I'm done. No, you need to keep that momentum. You need to go, great, I've got 8. Okay, next week I'm going to have 10. The week after that, I'm going to have 13. The week after that, I'm going to be up to 15. Because not everybody's coming into this business wanting to build it. Some people are coming in for the discount. Some people are going to sign up, try it, and they're going to go, yeah, it's not for me, and they're going to quit. Some people are going to stop ordering their Shakeology and go inactive, and then you'd lose rank if you didn't keep sponsoring new coaches. So you want to keep adding to your team. This does a lot of things besides just making sure that you maintain your diamond rank. It's also going to give fresh blood, new ideas to your team. It's going to make the coaches who've been around for a while go, that's exciting, there's new people with new ideas on the team. Woo! And it's going to also, let's say your ultimate goal is 15-star diamond. You need to find the diamonds in the rough, right? You need to find the people who want to push for it as much as you do, who you get to work with and mentor and have fun with. You're going to find your tribe doing this, and it's really exciting. You're going to find the people who want to do this just as much as you do, and it's so much fun to work with those people. So you keep growing. You're setting an example for your team. When you continuously are sponsoring coaches, they're going to go, okay, well, they're doing it, so I need to do it too, because trust me, your coaches follow your lead. If you're sponsoring coaches, they will know that they need to. If you do not sponsor coaches, they'll go, well, they're not sponsoring coaches, because I don't need to. They follow your lead. So absolutely imperative that you set the good example. And that also comes with doing the 4 vital behaviors every day, being present, all those kind of things. Very important. And I said it before, say it again. You cannot want it for your coaches. They have to want it for themselves. The ones that want it, work with them. The ones that don't want it, maybe they will one day. You keep leading by example. That's the best that you can do. Always set a good example. The people who want it will see it. They will see it's possible. They will reach out for help, and you can run with them. All right. I'm done. I'm done. You can unmute yourselves. It's question time.